What's up, my YouTube family? Sergeant Graybeard with the Gaming Brigade, back with another Division 2 video, and with this being our first video of 2022, I want to say thank you all so much for the support last year. This year is going to be amazing. I personally think it's going to be a great year for the Division, as well as so many other games that we'll be covering at the channel. Now, as I try and do every Monday, my friends, today I'd like to take some time and talk about some of the questions you've sent the channel, go over a few of the things that we can expect from the game this week, and as always, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. And if you enjoyed this, do me a favor, my friends, hit that like button. It really does help us out. One friendly reminder as we start this thing off is the fact that the global event Reanimated ends at the end of today. Therefore, any stars you've gained over the last week are going to be gone by tomorrow morning. Therefore, make sure you spend them now. Now, we do have a new global event, Hollywood, that starts tomorrow. But again, your stars will not roll over from this event to the next. Unfortunately, I still hear from a lot of players who just simply forget to spend those stars on the final day. And you know, with the stars, you can buy legacy caches, named caches, you can get Dark Zone exclusive items, you can buy exotic caches. So again, please make sure you spend them while you can. This also happens to be the final week of the holiday event, and over the last few days I've gotten a few questions in regards to the event itself. Therefore, I want to take some time and go over those right now. And the first thing I want to talk about is the Chill Out Mask. So the first question a lot of you are asking is this mask just for the holiday event itself? And the answer is absolutely yes. At this point, you can only get the mask during the holiday event. Once it ends, you will not be able to pick it up. Therefore, I strongly recommend take this last week if you haven't gotten a few of them already and do some farming, because you definitely want to have this thing. Now, for those of you that do not have the mask as yet, I will leave a link to a video I put together a few weeks back, just showing you a few of the ways I was able to pick it up, and I'll actually highlight a few of them in this video as well. However, there's also going to be a major change to the mask itself, which is another reason why you want to pick it up now. So as most of you know by now, one thing that sets the Chill Out Mask apart from other masks in the game is that it has 2 mod slots, which is great. However, it's a Gilligard mask and it didn't have the gear set bonus. However, you can see here, one of our community members, OB8, reached out to Yannick and Trick and asked, about the fact that, why doesn't this have a gear set bonus? And it turns out that it's a bug, and whenever they do the next update, they're going to fix that bug, so that way the mask will have the gear set bonus as well. Which means that whenever they do make this patch, the mask will then have an additional 5% armor bonus to it, and that can really come in handy when you're putting builds together. So again, like I said a moment ago, farm as many variations of this thing as you can. You definitely want to have options. Now, another thing I've heard from a lot of players out there is they cannot seem to find this loot goblin guy that has the Chill Out Mask and the Slayer gun and all that stuff. Now, I'm going to show you one of my favorite places to farm, which is right outside Jefferson Trade Center. However, there are a lot of other places you can farm as well. And as I mentioned a moment ago, I will leave a link to a farming video I put together when this event first started. Now, one thing I've been hearing is that you have to farm for him at night. Now, I've gotten it a few times during the day. I swear in my last video I put out, not my last video, but the farming one, I think my last attempt, it was like dusk, or I don't even know if it was dusk. It was just really foggy out. I mean, you guys can see the footage if you want. And I also know that you can farm for him anytime in the summit as well. However, it seems in the open world, the only time to do it is at night. With that being said, I recommend once you have that window of opportunity to farm for this guy, hit the spot up over and over and over again. Now, again, I'm showing you one of many, but this one works best for me. Now, another thing I want to make sure I mention is in between attempts, you can do one of two things. You can reset your control points, or you can log out and log back in. I choose to log out and log back in because for me, when I reset my control points, he just wouldn't respawn. Another question I'm getting from a lot of new and returning players is, what is the point to farm for this mask so many different times? And the reason for it is when it comes to a mask like this, because it has 2 mod slots, it really allows you to cater it towards any type of build you're putting together. Now, to give you a quick example, in my opinion, when you're farming for a Chill Out Mask, all you're worried about is that second attribute. The core attribute you can re-roll any way you want. It can be armor, it can be weapon damage, and one thing I want to mention is anytime you get one of these masks that you like, please make sure you mark it as a favorite. You can see here with this mask, it has crit hit chance maxed out, which is exactly what I'm looking for because it means I could stack this mask any way I wanted to when it comes to not only the core attribute, but also adding mods as well. Now, another question people are asking is what's the big deal? We already have, you can do improvised holsters, gloves, knee pads, where you can add an extra mod slot to it because as most of you know, or hopefully you guys know, holsters and knee pads and gloves do not have mod slots in this game unless you make an improvised version. And keep in mind, with the improvised version, they do not have gear sets, so that way you're not getting a gear set bonus anytime you create one. And another important factor to keep in mind when you're making actual improvised gear is you need to be really lucky in regards to the roll you get. So let's say right here, I see this holster, I'm like, it's great, but I wanted weapon damage. Well, I can, re-roll that core attribute, but then I have to spend a ton of resources to max out those other minor attributes as well. However, as I mentioned a moment ago with the chill out mask, you only have to worry about that second attribute because once that thing is maxed to anything that you want, you can then re-roll the core attribute to skill damage, armor, weapon damage. It really doesn't matter. And to give you another example, you can see here that I run into the same problem that I did with the last holster I tried to craft. So let's say if I wanted an all blue roll, of course I could re-roll that skill tier 2 armor, but then I have to spend all the resources to max out the other 2 attributes, and in my opinion, it's just not worth it. And as we move on, one thing I want to make sure I mention again, and I've said this a lot recently in videos, is now is the time to farm for mods, because if this mask is any indication of anything we may be looking forward to with the new content that's coming out, I mean, who knows when at this point, but the point is, now is the time to have mods, which gives you so many more variations on different builds. Finally, my friends, I want to address what do we think is actually going to happen over the next month. We know everything was delayed, we weren't given any time frame, including the Annex initiatives, which, by the way, was a great little resource in regards to some of the details we could look forward to as far as game improvements, game changes, quality of life, things like that. However, we all know that everything got pushed back. Now, I am assuming, or I'm hoping, forget assumptions, because to be honest with you, I can't really assume anything with this game right now. All I care about is that it's actually ready, whatever content that may be is ready before they launch it. And with that being said, I'm hoping that we hear something from the game within the next 2 weeks, giving us any type of timeline we can expect for whatever it may be, whether it's the PTS, the next initiative, whatever's going on. Because at this point, all we know is that we have one more week of the holiday event, we have one more global event, and as far as specifics, that's all we have at this point. And as I start to wrap this video up, I want to mention one more thing really quick that some of you brought to my attention, and I noticed it this weekend, but the Division put out a tweet talking about job opportunities at the game itself, looking for a game designer. I think that's what the title was, but a lot of you were wondering, does that mean that everything is going to be pushed back even further? And the answer is, honestly, my friends, we have no idea where they're at. And unfortunately, when there's no information given to us directly from the game, there's going to be a lot of different speculation on, things that may be upcoming, what's going on, stuff like that. But my friends, look, we know that the content, the stuff we're looking forward to is on the way. The time frame we don't know, and as always, as soon as I have tangible info, I will pass it along. With all that being said, my friends, I'm going to start to wrap this thing up. I want to take a moment, as always, and thank you all for your incredible support of this channel. The Division 2 has been my primary game here, and of course, we have a lot of stuff to look forward to with this game, but in addition to that, I'm also going to be covering many more games this year. It's something I've really been looking forward to. I've had a lot of stuff going on over the last 12 months, haven't been able to really deep dive into the channel. I'll be able to do that now, so hopefully you'll enjoy a lot of the stuff I'm bringing as well. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. We would love for you to be a part of our gaming family. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.